Welcome back to another edition of ManCave Astronomy. Today, it's pretty nice outside. It's September 30th, last day of the month. We got a nice big full moon tonight. The last video I did was I tried to do some modifications on the polar finder, try to adapt a webcam into the polar finder to make doing our polar finder set up a little easier, and I ended up cracking the reticule, the mapping lens inside the polar scope. I cracked that thing all the way across, pushing and pulling on it and messing with it. I didn't knock it out of alignment from when we did our actual centering of the polar scope, luckily. But I did ended up, when I pushed against the eyepiece, screwing the eyepiece in and out, and fitting the rubber piece to hold the webcam on there, I did end up cracking that mapping reticule, or that mapping lens, which has got it's laser etched map of Polaris and your cross to the North Pole, and you know, it's got some other etching and stuff on there. I ended up cracking that all the way across. Luckily enough, though, I've kind of looked at it and been deciding on what I want to do. At this point, Meade no longer makes the polar finder scope. I've looked on YouTube and eBay and several of different places trying to figure out if there's any other option. Basically, it looks like there's no other option for me. I'm just gonna have to live with what I got. You know, that's kind of the downfall to an older telescope. Luckily enough, you know, any of you that's got this telescope set up, this mount, luckily enough, Meade does have a new mount out. It's about $800 to $1,000. That's basically comparable to the same LXD75 mount, as far as weight capacity and stuff like that. Me personally, I'm not going to spend $1,000 for just a mount. I think if I'm going to spend that kind of money, if I'm looking at $1,000, I'm going to go ahead and just spend a few $1,000s more and just go ahead and buy a new telescope setup. So I can still keep what I've got. There's nothing wrong with it. Outside of the reticle being cracked in the polar finder, so the mapping lens, which I do believe, with a little ingenuity and a little forward thinking and the help of a few good apps, you know, we don't need to probably really even use the polar finder. And that's some of the stuff I'm going to go over today. I'm also going to try to get this thing out. It's a little cloudy out. We had thunderstorms and rain come through last night, but it's nice out. It's real calm. It is a little cloudy. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. I'd like to get this thing out and do the motor train set up and stuff on this. I'm probably going to drag the mount out there. I'm probably going to put the 4.5 inch my 4.5 inch on the telescope, or on the mount, and do the motor drive train, deal with that and see if that helps with the stellarium misalignment issues that we come up with. And I appreciate the comments on that. That video seemed to get a lot of pretty good hits, and I got some good comments on it, and you know, always appreciated. I think training the drive, which is something we need to do anyway, is gonna help out. And the reason I'm not gonna drag out the 10-inch scope and set it up, because for one, it's daytime. That's just a lot of you know, it's a lot of hardware, a lot of stuff to set up. I don't mind doing it, but if I don't have to, and that's kind of the beauty of the 4.5 inch reflector that I got, the Meade EQ 114 that I have, I can set it right in the mount, and I don't have to really, I gotta get one counterweight and that and pop it in there and go. So doing setups and stuff like this, that telescope really makes it worthwhile. You know, I see those telescopes just ate up on eBay for around $100. I've seen them for $150 with the little hand mount, hand control mount that comes with it. But for $100, that telescope's really worthwhile picking up. I try to keep a pretty close track on eBay on the scopes and stuff that are on there, and kind of see what stuff's on there. And looking at, after I cracked my reticule on my polar finder, I kind of dole into the, what is it going to take to basically replace this mount, and then ultimately replace the whole setup. The scope's nothing wrong with the scope. I can always, as long as I buy a mount that can hold the scope, which I'm not going to downgrade, I'm going to upgrade. By all means, no point in going backwards. I'm telling you, the new telescopes that are out now are pretty impressive. I really did a lot more time reading and checking up on the new telescopes and the new mount setups and different stuff. So it's getting pretty hard pressed not to want to get a newer setup. But there again, I haven't found really much of anything under the $4,000 to $5,000 price range as far as mount and telescope setup all together. That really is worthwhile as far as I'm concerned, and go to at least a 10-inch aperture, which I have now. I don't want to downscale and cut back. But the newer telescopes, the magnification on these new telescopes, even though they're a lower focal ratio, magnification is just outstanding. I can't touch. I was looking at a Celestron Edge HD 11-inch on the CGM DX mount. Setup's about $4,500 for that scope and that mount, and the weight limit on that mount is about 50 pounds, which is about equal to the LXD75 mount that we got. The scope's weighing in at about 30 pounds, which is pretty comparable to what we've got on what I have on my 10-inch. It's about 35 pounds, and that telescope is just unreal. The magnification, I think it's 661 magnification, just because it's a 2800 millimeter focal length, and my scope is 1016 millimeter focal length, which makes it an f4. That telescope's an f10, and it's a lot dimmer light, but the magnification, the only way I can get anywhere near that kind of magnification is putting a Barlow in and adding a lot of extra equipment to the telescope to up the magnification. And the thing to remember too, if you're looking at telescopes, is the useful magnification with no atmosphere disturbance, or no wind, perfect conditions. You're looking at about 300 times magnification without the help of probably digital instruments, and a lot of different filters and different things that you're going to have to add on to up your magnification and be able to really get better quality magnification over 300 times. Just kind of put it in perspective, the 40 millimeter eyepiece that I've got for the moon observation stuff that I like to look at the moon, I'm going to eventually purchase some better eyepieces to do a little more deep space. But that 40 millimeter eyepiece is about 25 times magnification on my 10-inch telescope at 1016 millimeter focal length. So it provides a lot of light, a lot of good image, but it's low magnification at 25 times magnification. That's what that eyepiece renders for my telescope. If I had like a Celestron 11 or 14-inch, there's quite a bit of difference in the magnification quality. That eyepiece would be pushing about 100 times magnification. Just putting it in. So you go from 25 to 100, almost 3 times more magnification just in the telescope itself, not adding anything to it. That is pretty impressive. But but you know, the photo quality and stuff, you know, I don't know. I haven't never really dealt with it, so you know, that's kind of, you know, here nor there. But you know, that's some of the things that I kind of was looking at this past week, and I apologize for not getting any videos out here lately. Kind of just took a step back and did some soul searching on what I want to do after cracking the polar finder scope and not being able to replace it. So we're down, but we're not out. We're going to come back swinging and continue on. And basically, for what I got this telescope and this mount set up for, you know, it is the way to go right now. You know, I'd like to definitely later on down the road purchase a new telescope setup and do, you know, some tweaks and some mods and some setups and give you guys out there something to look at. But for right now, I got to make do with what I got. So that's kind of where we're at. I took a pretty good video of my Greyhound earlier. She was hanging out on the recliner. I'm going to let you check that little video out. I'm going to put it in between. I'm going to get this mount set up outside, and we'll go through our training of our drive motors, and we'll see what that yields. So give me a few minutes, enjoy the little side video there, and we'll be back. This is what a retired racing Greyhound does all day, in case anyone's wondering. They're not a hyper dog, they're not an active dog, they're a 55-mile-an-hour couch potato. This is what they do all day long, right there. That's it. You're looking at it. High speed couch potato with a smile. This is how she does. It's like she hit the recliner and wrecked. We have a caution in the living room. Greyhound down. I can't tell if she's mad because I'm filming her or if she's got a smile because she's enjoying her Sunday afternoon watching the race upside down in the recliner. That's it right there. Hello folks, welcome back to another edition of ManCave Astronomy. Yesterday we took the mount out and tried to do a train drive setup to train our drives to help correct with, as one of my subscribers put it, a rubber banding issue with stellarium. And what I ended up running into was I selected the wrong sub menu, and ended up, as you can see, I've got the declination drive box off, the plastic covering that covers the drive housing. What we ended up running into was we ended up breaking the declination drive plastic box because the mount slewed so far to the left on the right extension that it actually ran into the declination motor, turned, and it did like 180 degree on the declination, 180 degree on the scope, and then it did right extension like almost 180. I want to say it was a little bit more than 180, more like 200 degrees. So it went from all the way to the right where I had it, you know, I had it focused on a telephone pole out here in the backyard, and this thing slewed. The declination turned 180 degrees, and then it slewed in right extension to the left all the way down to where the box hit the declination box hit the right extension box, and it ended up cracking the declination box. So the menu was this menu right here, the telescope LXD75 adjust. That was the option that I ended up selecting under the telescope, and that's what caused us to break you know, you go under the telescope setting in your hand box and you scroll down, there's the percentages and different stuff, and you get to the LXD7575 adjust setting, which I thought that was where the train drive setting was, and to my error, it's actually a few more selections down, and ended up, you know, entering that and started the drive after centering on a it's just under the focal length on my hand box, and it's LXD5575 adjust. And anyway, that menu I selected thinking that was the train drive setups were in that, and ended up cracking my housing here, and you can see I've got it off, and I looked at the damage, and basically what it is, it popped the screws. It broke the screws loose out of the casting here, the plastic piece. So basically right now at the rate I'm going to have to buy a new telescope, because I'm going to tear this one slam apart. I think I can get this fixed without too much headache. But the biggest disappointment is I read through, I looked through everything in my owner's manual. I have no explanation as to what that submenu is. I ended up setting the mount up a few different ways, and I ended up, watching the entire rotation. And once you get the telescope mount to slew and it finished slewing, it tells you to recenter. And I don't know what object you could possibly center on when the telescope head does 180 and then your right extension goes 200 degrees over. At the end of the menu, once you let it slew that far, at the end of it, it tells you to adjust the screws. And I don't know what screws. Like I said, I can't find anything in my menu or in my handbook on it, and it certainly doesn't give me a very good, there's nothing in the manual. There's, the hand box has the little scroll menus that kind of tells you what you're doing. It didn't give me anything on that either. So the only thing I can figure is maybe it's for coning or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. So I'm going to rely on my faithful subscribers to, if they know what it is or what it's for, please share with me what it is. But the purpose of this video is basically, if you go into that menu as of right now, until I find out actually what it's for, as your telescope slews, the mount turns and slews, you're basically gonna break your dry boxes. They're gonna end up hitting, and you're gonna end up damaging one. And I called Meade this evening, asked them if they had any explanation as to what that setup is in the hand box. They have no idea, basically. After I got off the phone with the guy, he basically told me I needed to completely reset my hand box and start all over again. In lieu of, I don't see what that's going to really accomplish. And Meade does still have the declination motor for sale. It's about $140. I'm not going to pay $140 for a piece of plastic, because I got to buy the whole drive motor assembly. And it's cosmetic more than anything. I didn't hurt the actual drive assembly. So I'm gonna have to try to get that fixed. But just wanted to make this video and kind of let you know that this is what happened when I entered the menu. I wasn't quick enough to hit the 0 button because I was standing on this side of the scope, and I didn't see that as the thing turned 180 degrees around, it puts the drive, the declination motor box down at the base and a little bit more to the right side, almost where the dovetail screw is. And when this thing spins around, goes left on the right extension, it ends up impacting the other side that you can see here, the other side of the right extension drive motor box. So definitely not very happy about that. You would think these things would have either manual stops or electronic stops, but you know, there again, it is an older mount, so we'll pick up and move on, I guess, from here, and see if I can't come up with some divine way to fix my drive motor housing and get that put back on, and get it back where that's covered up. But anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. Still didn't do, basically after I broke the box, I just kind of put everything up and was quite disgusted right at the particular time yesterday afternoon. It was not eventful. I got the mount set up with the telescope, and first thing I did was break it. So, after thinking about it and looking at it and messing with it last night, I figured I definitely want to make a video to at least warn you of what that menu does, and what the potential cause could be. So just wanted to enlighten y'all on that. But hopefully it's kind of cloudy and rainy tonight. Tomorrow it's supposed to be the same way, so maybe later on in the week, around Wednesday or Thursday, it's supposed to be nice. So maybe I can get this thing out one day after work, and we can actually go through the drive motor setup. And I do remember seeing a menu, I think, and reading through the handbook of you can set stop. I know there's one for the horizon. You can set a stop position for the horizon, and I'm curious if I need to go through and do that. But you know, like I said, right now this is where we are. We just broke our declination drive motor housing, so now I got to get that fixed before I'm gonna pretty much do anything else with it. And I'll hopefully get a chance to go by the hardware store maybe tomorrow or something and see if I can find some really small screws that are long enough to reattach the box back down to the motor plate. So anyway, just want to share it. Hope you guys are enjoying these, and I know these last couple of videos haven't been too good, and I've been breaking a lot of stuff, so watch and learn. Don't do what I do sometimes. But anyway, happy trails.